The one word that set the internet on fire. One word from Rihanna just turned years of quiet tension with Nicki Minaj into a full-blown internet explosion. For years, fans whispered that something was off between Nicki and Rihanna. No direct diss tracks, no messy interview moments, no screaming headlines from either side, just silence, unfollows, cryptic energy, and a strange distance between two women who once looked like they could dominate music side by side. But everything changed when Rihanna appeared to step into the conversation with one tiny comment that hit harder than a whole paragraph. Under a post discussing Nicki Minaj's controversial appearance at a political event, Rihanna reportedly dropped one word: clown. That was it. No long explanation, no back and forth, no emotional speech. Just one word sitting under the post like a grenade with the pin already pulled. And within minutes, screenshots were flying everywhere. Fan pages grabbed it, rap blogs reposted it, comment sections turned into war zone. People who had not talked about Nicki and Rihanna in years suddenly had their phones in their hands asking the same question. Did Rihanna finally say what she had been holding back? And then Nicki made it even more confusing. Instead of firing back with a direct insult, she showed up under Rihanna's post with soft emojis, hearts, ribbons, and prayer hands. To some fans, that looked peaceful. To others, it looked calculated. Was Nicki trying to look unbothered? Was she sending a quiet message? Or was she reminding everyone that she could respond without giving the internet the fight it wanted? That is what made this moment so addictive. It was not just about one comment. It was about history. It was about Drake rumors, old unfollows, Queen radio moments, Megan Thee Stallion drama, Savage X Fenty speculation, and years of fans wondering if the friendship between two Caribbean superstars had quietly fallen apart behind the scenes. Because when Rihanna speaks, people listen. And when she speaks about Nicki, even with one word, the entire culture stops. Before we go deeper, comment where you are watching from right now. If you think Rihanna was throwing real shade, comment 1. If you think people are reading too much into it, comment 2. And make sure you subscribe, because this story goes way deeper than one Instagram comment. Before the silence, there was respect. Before the comments, before the unfollows, before fans started treating every social media move like evidence, Nicki Minaj and Rihanna actually looked like allies. That is the part newer fans sometimes forget. There was a time when these two women represented something powerful in the music industry. Rihanna was the global pop force from Barbados, moving through hit after hit, like she had the formula locked away somewhere nobody else could touch. Nicki was the Trinidad-born rap superstar who kicked the door open in hip-hop and made it clear she was not asking for space. She was taking it. Together, they felt like a natural pairing. Rihanna had the effortless cool, the fashion influence, the voice, the global reach. Nicki had the bars, the attitude, the characters, the punchlines, and the ability to dominate any record she touched. When they were friendly, it gave fans the feeling that two women from Caribbean backgrounds had found common ground in an industry that often tried to turn powerful women against each other. Their collaboration era mattered because it did not feel random. It felt like mutual respect. They moved in similar celebrity circles. They supported each other publicly. They were both rising into a rare level of fame where every move became culture. And for a while, fans believed the friendship was solid. But the music business does not always reward peace. Especially not when fame, loyalty, romantic rumors, industry politics, and fan wars all start crashing into each other. The same circles that bring artists together can also quietly pull them apart. And with Rihanna and Nicki, the shift was not loud at first. It was subtle, almost too subtle. No one came out and said, "We are not friends anymore." There was no dramatic interview, no diss song, no direct quote that could be pinned to the wall. Instead, fans started noticing silence. No new collaborations, less public warmth, no obvious support. Then came the social media moves that turned suspicion into obsession. When celebrities unfollow each other, the internet treats it like a public statement. And when Rihanna and Nicki's names started being linked to unfollow rumors, fans immediately knew something had changed. The old warmth was gone. The energy was different. What used to look like sisterhood now looked like distance. And once the distance started, fans began digging for the reason. The Drake shadow over everything. If there is one name that kept coming up whenever fans discussed the rumored distance between Rihanna and Nicki Minaj, it was Drake. That does not mean Drake caused everything. Celebrity relationships are never that simple. But in the world of fan theories, timelines, and industry loyalty, Drake became the shadow standing between two women who once seemed closer than they later became. Drake and Rihanna had a complicated public history. Their connection had been discussed for years, sometimes romantic, sometimes uncertain, always surrounded by speculation. At the same time, Drake and Nicki had their own deep music bond through Young Money. They collaborated often, defended each other publicly, and were treated by fans as two pillars of the same rap family. So when Rihanna and Drake's relationship cooled, some fans believed Rihanna may have looked at everyone closest to him differently. That is where Nicki's name came up. Around that period, fans noticed what they believed was a digital separation. Rihanna reportedly unfollowed Nicki, and the internet immediately turned it into a storyline. Was it about Drake? Was it about loyalty? Was it about something private fans would never fully know? Nobody had a clean answer, but that did not stop people from building the theory piece by piece. And then came another layer, Remy Ma. When Remy Ma and Nicki Minaj's feud was dominating hip-hop conversation, every celebrity move around Nicki was being studied like courtroom evidence. Remy's diss track had already shaken the internet, and fans were looking to see which artists were standing with Nicki and which ones were staying silent. So when Rihanna's unfollow rumors were tied to that same time period, some fans took it as a quiet message. The thing is, Rihanna did not need to say anything for the internet to decide she had spoken. In celebrity culture, silence can become a statement. An unfollow can become a headline. A missing like can become a betrayal. That is how fragile these public relationships become when millions of strangers are watching. For Nicki, this had to feel strange. She is an artist built on directness. When she wants to speak, she speaks loudly. When she wants to battle, she does not usually hide from confrontation. But Rihanna was different. Rihanna's silence had weight. She did not need to explain herself because fans filled in the blanks for her. And that silence would come back years later, when one caller on Queen Radio asked the question everybody wanted answered. The Queen Radio moment fans never forgot. The moment that made fans believe the Rihanna and Nicki situation was real did not happen in a diss track. It did not happen on a red carpet. It happened on Nicki's own platform. During a Queen Radio segment, a fan asked Nicki the question many people had been waiting years to hear. Was the Rihanna situation ever going to be cleared up? It was not an aggressive question. It was not a disrespectful attack. It was the kind of direct fan question that could have been answered in 2 seconds if there was nothing there. Nicki could have laughed it off. She could have said, "There is no issue." She could have praised Rihanna and moved on. She could have shut down the rumors with one clean sentence. But that is not what happened. Instead, the call ended abruptly, and Nicki acted confused about what had just happened. To fans, that silence was louder than a full answer, because Nicki Minaj is not someone who usually struggles to respond. She has built her career on precision, timing, confidence, and verbal control. So when she dodges a question, fans do not see that as random. They see it as confirmation. That Queen Radio moment became one of those clips people kept bringing back every time Rihanna and Nicki's names were mentioned together. It turned into internet evidence. Fans would say, "Look at how she reacted." Others argued that maybe Nicki was just tired of people forcing drama. But the mystery only grew stronger. The reason it mattered so much is because the alleged Rihanna tension was never clear. There were rumors about Drake, rumors about Remy Ma, rumors about industry alliances, rumors about private conversations nobody outside the circle had ever heard. But there was never a full explanation. So when Nicki avoided the topic, the internet treated that avoidance as proof that something really did happen. And maybe that is what kept the story alive for so long. Not the drama itself, but the lack of closure. Fans can move on from a feud when both sides explain it. But when two massive artists stay quiet for years, every tiny move becomes a clue. A follow becomes a peace treaty. An unfollow becomes a declaration. A comment becomes a missile. A heart emoji becomes a coded message. That is exactly why, when Nicki and Rihanna eventually followed each other again, the internet reacted like a lost chapter had suddenly reopened. For a brief moment, it looked like the Cold War might finally be ending. The refollow that made fans dream again. When fans noticed that Nicki Minaj and Rihanna appeared to be following each other again, the internet did what it always does. It started dreaming bigger than the evidence. Suddenly, people were not just talking about peace. They were talking about music, a collaboration, a comeback, a moment. Fans imagined Nicki pulling Rihanna back into the studio. They imagined Rihanna returning from her long music break with a feature that would break the internet. They imagined two icons putting years of rumors behind them and reminding the industry what star power really looked like. That is how hungry people were for this connection to be repaired. Because deep down, many fans never wanted Rihanna and Nicki to be enemies. They wanted them to win together. They wanted the old energy back. They wanted that rare feeling of seeing two dominant women refuse to be divided by industry games, fan wars, and old misunderstanding. But the refollow did not come with an explanation. There was no joint photo, no interview, no public statement saying, "We are good." It was just a quiet digital move that sent fans into chaos. And because nothing was confirmed, everyone started writing their own version of the story. Some believed it meant the old issues had been handled behind the scenes. Some believed it was simply maturity. Others thought it might be business, because in the entertainment world, peace often arrives right before a rollout. Nicki had teased activity. Fans were watching her page closely, and the idea of Rihanna being connected to new music felt too exciting to ignore. But then nothing major came from it. No massive duet, no big public reunion, no clear explanation. The moment faded, and the mystery remained. That is the pattern with Nicki and Rihanna. Every time fans think they are about to get clarity, the story slips back into smoke. And while the Rihanna and Nicki situation stayed unresolved, another feud was building that would drag Rihanna's name into Nicki's orbit again in a completely different way. That feud was Nicki Minaj versus Megan Thee Stallion. This time, Rihanna was not in the middle because of friendship. She was in the conversation because Nicki mentioned her while attacking the way public sympathy, celebrity image, and controversy move through the industry. It was a messy chapter, and it made fans look at Rihanna, Nicki, and Megan in one tangled conversation. And once again, social media turned every connection into ammunition. Megan, Rihanna, and the sympathy debate. The Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion feud became one of the most intense female rap conflicts of its era. But in the middle of that fire, Rihanna's name came up in a way that surprised a lot of people. Nicki's issue with Megan had already become personal, loud, and impossible to ignore. Songs, lyrics, live stream reactions, fan wars, and accusations were flying everywhere. But when Nicki referenced Rihanna, the conversation shifted. It was no longer only about rap competition. It became about trauma, sympathy, public image, and how women in the spotlight are judged when something painful becomes part of their story. Nicki suggested that Rihanna had handled public hardship differently, presenting Rihanna as someone who did not need controversy to be loved. The point Nicki seemed to be making was that Rihanna was already a superstar with or without public sympathy. She framed Rihanna as someone who wanted to move forward, not build her whole identity around a painful moment. That comment was complicated. Some fans believed Nicki was praising Rihanna. Others felt she was using Rihanna's past in a conversation that did not need to involve her. And because Rihanna had her own rumored tension with both Megan and Nicki at different points, the whole situation became even more tangled. Megan had previously been connected to Rihanna's Savage X Fenty brand, and fans later noticed changes around that relationship. When Rihanna reportedly unfollowed Megan, people immediately started speculating. Some tried to connect it to rumors involving As Soon As Possible Rocky. Others connected it to the wider industry shift around Megan. Nothing was fully confirmed, but fans treated every digital move like a clue. Then people noticed that other big names had also unfollowed Megan. Suddenly, the internet was creating a whole map of alliances. Drake, Rihanna, Nicki, Ciara, Megan, As Soon As Possible, Rocky. Every name became part of a bigger theory. That is the danger of celebrity drama in the social media era. Sometimes the public never gets the truth, but the theories become powerful enough to feel real. And once a theory feels real, it shapes how people interpret every future move. So by the time Rihanna commented, "clown," under a post about Nicki, fans were not seeing it as a random reaction. They were seeing it through years of unresolved tension, industry rumors, Megan drama, Drake history, and every silent unfollow that came before it. The comment was small. The history behind it was massive. The political moment that changed the conversation. Everything finally boiled over when Nicki Minaj's name became attached to a political controversy that moved far beyond music. According to the viral discussion, Nicki appeared at a Turning Point USA event and spoke alongside conservative figures in a setting that immediately sparked backlash online. For many longtime fans, the issue was not just that Nicki had a political opinion. It was where she chose to appear, who she stood beside, and how her comments were interpreted by communities that had supported her for years. Nicki has always been controversial. That is not new. She has never built her career on being soft, quiet, or easy to control. Her fans love her because she is bold, sharp, unpredictable, and willing to push back against the industry. But this moment felt different to many people because it touched politics, identity, culture, and the communities that help build her fan base. Some critics said the messaging at the event felt hostile toward LGBTQ people and immigrants. Some fans said they felt confused because Nicki has long had a major queer fan base, and her music has been embraced in spaces where self-expression is everything. Others defended her right to speak freely and said people were trying to punish her for having views that did not fit the entertainment industry's usual script. That divide made the backlash intense. Public figures began reacting. Some questioned whether Nicki understood the political machine she was stepping into. Others argued that celebrity opinions can influence culture in ways bigger than entertainment. The conversation grew from, "What did Nicki say?" to "What does it mean when a hip-hop superstar uses her platform in this kind of political space?" And then Rihanna's comment landed. That is why it went viral so fast. Rihanna did not write a think piece. She did not give a lecture. She did not break down political history. She simply appeared to call Nicki a clown, and the internet treated it like a final judgment. For people already upset with Nicki, Rihanna's comment felt like validation. For Nicki's loyal fans, it felt unnecessary and shady. For neutral fans, it felt shocking because Rihanna almost never jumps into public drama like that. Rihanna's power is restraint. She does not need to speak often because when she does, the silence around her makes it louder. And that is exactly what happened here. One word became louder than every podcast clip, every reaction video, and every argument happening under the posts. Now everyone was waiting to see what Nicki would do next. Nicki's emoji response had everyone confused. When Nicki finally responded to Rihanna, she did not respond the way people expected. A lot of fans were waiting for a classic Nicki reaction. Sharp, direct, sarcastic, maybe even explosive. After all, Nicki is known for defending herself. When she feels attacked, she does not usually just disappear. She can turn a comment into a moment into a rant, and a rant into a headline. So when Rihanna's clown comment went viral, the internet expected fireworks. Instead, Nicki showed up under Rihanna's post with soft emojis. That response confused everyone. Some fans read it as peace. They believed Nicki was choosing not to fight Rihanna publicly because there was still some respect there. After all, these are two women with history. They came up in the same era, shared cultural space, and represented Caribbean excellence on a global stage. Maybe Nicki did not want to turn that into a messy public battle. Other fans saw the emojis as shade disguised as sweetness. In celebrity language, a heart is not always just a heart. A prayer hand is not always just a prayer hand. Sometimes being overly calm is its own kind of response. Sometimes looking unbothered is a way to take power back. And then there were fans who thought Nicki was being strategic. By refusing to attack Rihanna directly, she avoided giving the blogs the exact headline they wanted. If she had insulted Rihanna, the story would have exploded even more. Instead, she made the internet argue about what the emojis meant, which kept her in control of the mystery. That is the strange genius of this moment. Rihanna used one word, Nicki used no words. And somehow, both responses created more noise than a full argument would have. The comment sections became battlegrounds. Some people said Rihanna had finally exposed how she really felt. Others said Nicki handled it with more grace than expected. Some accused fans of trying to force a beef between two women who might not even be as personally invested as the internet thinks. But the reason people could not stop talking was simple. This was not a random celebrity exchange. It was the latest episode in a story fans had been watching for nearly a decade. And now, the question was no longer whether Nicki and Rihanna had tension. The question was how deep that tension really went. A friendship, a cold war, and a comment that changed everything. The wildest part about the Nicki Minaj and Rihanna situation is that it still does not have a clean ending. That is why fans are obsessed. With some celebrity beefs, everything is obvious. Somebody says a name, somebody drops a diss, somebody responds in an interview. The lines are clear, but with Rihanna and Nicki, the whole story lives in shadows. It is built from silence, timing, old rumors, emotional reactions, and tiny digital moves that fans treat like secret messages. They were once friendly. That part matters. This was not two random stars who never crossed paths. These were two women who had shown public respect, shared an era, and stood as two of the most successful Caribbean-born forces in modern music. Nicki ruled rap with intensity. Rihanna ruled pop with ease. Together, they represented a kind of cultural power that fans still miss. Then came the distance, the alleged unfollows, the Drake theories, the Remy Ma timing, the Queen radio hang-up, the refollow that made fans hope for a reunion, the Megan Thee Stallion drama that pulled Rihanna's name back into Nicki's orbit. And finally, The political controversy that turned years of quiet tension into one viral word. Clown. That word landed so hard because it carried the weight of everything before it. If Rihanna had said it about someone with no history, maybe it would have been a funny little comment for a day. But because it was Nicki, because fans had waited years for Rihanna to show where she stood, it felt bigger. It felt like a door opening just wide enough for everyone to see the tension inside. And Nicki's response only added to the mystery. The hearts, the ribbon, the prayer hands. Was it peace? Was it shade? Was it maturity? Was it strategy? Nobody knows for sure. And that is exactly why the story keeps moving. What this moment really shows is how powerful silence can be in celebrity culture. Rihanna did not need a full statement. Nicki did not need a full clapback. The internet did the rest. Fans supplied the history, the theories, the emotion, and the outrage. Now the relationship between Nicki and Rihanna feels more uncertain than ever. Not completely broken, not fully repaired, just suspended in that strange space where two icons know the world is watching, but neither one is willing to explain everything. And until they do, one comment will keep echoing across the culture. The real lesson behind the viral moment. The Nicki Minaj and Rihanna situation is bigger than one comment, bigger than one emoji, and bigger than a fan war that lives in screenshots. What this whole story really shows is how dangerous unfinished tension can become when fame, silence, politics, loyalty, and public perception all collide. Nicki and Rihanna are not regular celebrities, they are global symbols. They represent eras, cultures, fan bases, and movements. So when either one of them makes even the smallest move, millions of people try to decode it like there is a hidden message behind every word. From a strategic point of view, Rihanna's power has always been control. She does not over-explain. She does not jump into every trending argument. She lets her silence build value. And when she finally says something, even one word can dominate the internet. That is why the clown comment hit so hard. It felt rare, it felt intentional, it felt like a quiet person finally choosing a side. Nicki's strategy was different. Instead of turning the moment into a direct public war, she responded with softness, mystery, and emotional ambiguity. That move kept the internet guessing. It also stopped the story from becoming a clean back-and-forth fight. If she had attacked Rihanna directly, the headlines would have exploded. But by using emojis, Nicki gave people just enough to talk about without handing them a full battle. The lesson here is simple. In today's celebrity world, silence can be louder than shouting. A comment can become a headline. An unfollow can become a theory. A small reaction can reopen 10 years of rumor. And when fans already believe there is history, they do not need proof to turn a moment into a movement. But there is also a human lesson behind all of this. Nicki and Rihanna are two women who have carried enormous pressure in industries that often turn women against each other for entertainment. Fans may want drama, but peace would be more powerful. Growth would be more powerful. A private conversation would be more powerful than a public war. At the end of the day, both women have already changed music forever. Rihanna does not need to prove her influence. Nicki does not need to prove her legacy. The smartest move for both sides may not be revenge, shade, or another viral moment. It may be silence, distance, maturity, and choosing not to let the internet turn every old wound into a new headline. So now the question is on you. Do you think Rihanna was right to call Nicki out? Or do you think this whole thing has been blown way out of proportion? Comment 1 if you think Rihanna was sending a real message. Comment 2 if you think fans are creating drama out of nothing. And if you want more deep breakdowns on rap news, celebrity drama, and the stories behind the headlines, make sure you subscribe, hit like, and share this video with somebody who follows the culture.